Okay, so you see the moon? That's the final phase before a full moon. So once you know it's the final phase before a full moon, you're gonna port to base camp in the desert. All right. Oh, wrong tent. Okay. All right, you're gonna go into your tent. I recommend eating a custom meal. The first two items don't really matter, so I just use whatever I have the most of. But the third item, you want truffle dukanga. Eating that will give you a chance of getting additional gather items. It doesn't work for the Nightflower, but it does give you the chance for an extra gather item on everything else. So now that you've eaten, you have your gathering meal set. I'm going to change into my gathering set. Alright, so my gathering set runs, it has botanist, hunger resistance, item prolonger, geology, outdoorsman, and entomologist. The other set I use to gather is my buff set, and that still has the botanist, geologist. Then it has all the necessary items for buffing as well. So, but we're going to use the gathering set this time. It's slightly better for what we're going to do here. Okay. Then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to shift the moon to full moon. So we're going to rest. We're going to set it to plenty. We're going to set it to evening. Evening is required, so don't set it to nighttime. Nighttime will fuck it up. You're going to hit confirm. All right, so now we know there's going to be a full moon as soon as the sun goes down. And the Nightflower will spawn. Alright, so now we know it's full moon coming. I'm going to equip my captionet because I'm going to use that once we get to the pond. And you just basically do a gathering run. This is my gathering run. Feel free to make your own gathering run, but this one gets you some decent stuff. I pick up everything. You get some ivies, you get some thunder bugs for traps, you'll get a few bitter bugs. You get a very good amount of honey. I think it's 24 to 30 honey, depending on how lucky you are with the gathering. So here's your first batch of honey. Oh, it's not 24. It's 16 to 20. Did I get that? Yeah, I got it. All right. And then you're going to come back down the hill. You're going to hold up here. Sometimes over here on the right, there'll be 3 more additional thunder bugs, depending on how it rolls the zone. If those are there, I'll grab those too. I'll grab this thunder bug. Then you go to this thunder bug. And then you got this little ramp here. As you come up the ramp, there's an adamant seed. That's pretty choice. A fulgurite. Toadstool. Toadstools, I don't know. They're something to gather. Flash bugs. I use a ton of flashes, so grabbing flash bugs is something I always do. Couple nitro shrooms here. Come up on this rock, there's another thunderbug. Swing around. This is a little confusing. But ultimately you're heading up this hill, head between these 2 little sand dunes. Come up here. Alright, so grab any giant vigor wisps first. because if you are going for something else and it passes through a Vigor Wisp, it's going to pop the Vigor Wisp and you're not going to get the rewards unless the Vigor Wisp was targeted. You get the Parashroom. Parashroom is pretty key here. You can just hold down your left trigger and then toggle between all the items. I find that you have to like switch off and then back onto the item if you want to do a no-look gather. Grab whatever fish look interesting to you. And here's one more. Nope, I missed. And again. And there we go. Alright, so now we're just going to port to base camp and start the rest of our run. Alright, so now we're here in base camp. We're going to hit the gas on the horse. He's going to jump off this ledge. You're going to grab this bitter bug on the left. God bug. Fire herb, flash bug. I grab this succulent. I'll take a peek up in the sky if there's a screamer bird that passes overhead. I'll tag him too. I'll hold up a little bit here and let him pass overhead. Alright. Bitter bug. That bitter bug, you gotta be looking for him. If you don't have him kind of in front of you, he doesn't pop up so well. It's pretty easy to miss. And then that 4 honeys there. Yeah, I just grabbed those for the trade items. Here's where you can get a few sleep herbs. They're good combined with those parashrooms we grabbed. You get a few tranks. Tranks are a needed item. I grab that screamer up there as I come into this little gorge. I grab the succulent as I swing by, and then I hit the bone piles. You don't even have to get off your horse. Just park your horse, go to the other bone pile. Reason we do the bone piles before we do the dung is a lot of times a dung beetle will pop out, and then you can get 2 dungs, but not this time. Alright, again, with the giant Vigor Wisps, you want to target them and hit them, you'll get the Eastern Honey. Again, like if you want to do your own route, you know, feel free, but I kind of hit all the bases with this here, and it's going to time out pretty decently for when the flower spawns. It probably looks pretty random how I'm running it, and I'm going a little quick, but I get a lot of good stuff on this run. The sun's starting to go down. I don't mess with the mining. If I'm having an exceptionally quick run, I will hit it, but often I don't. You'll hit a few mining spots at the end of this run, so it's not necessarily key that you hit that one. Yeah, I'm a little early. Alright, so we'll have to wait for the flower to spawn, because we're slightly early. So we could have did that mining spot. Alright, here we go. Flowers spawning. So we grab that when it's done. Okay. And then you're going to want to have had Area 4 West Camp. So fly to Area 4 West Camp. I go down the hill, I grab the nullberry, I grab a god bug. A lot of times I'll hit one or two of those screamer guys, wind drakes or whatever. I'll grab that god bug, and then I'll gather these 2 bone piles. Alright, then there's a fulgurite there. You're going to go right up to this cliff. You're going to hit circle. You're going to jump down, pull your right trigger to pop your wings. And then we're going for that Nightflower right there below us. That's the next thing we gather. And that's the 2 Nightflowers. Then I grab the Dragon Strike Nuts, the Fulgurite. I will mine these last 2 mining spots. I come down the hill to this first little notch. Here there's some Mandragora, blue mushroom. If you want more blue mushrooms, there's another spot here. Hit that. Okay, then we got Dragon Fellberry, Bitterbug, another Adamant Seed. And then the last mining spot.
On my way there.
Alright, and that's my Nightflower run.